System. There were the nostrils right there. We can't see the pharynx. So the oropharynx, nasolaryngeo, that we will see on the human part, which are all going to be those transparencies or the models back there. Right? We are cut through the tongue, the base of the tongue, and here is the larynx. So the whole structure is the larynx. And the components of the larynx is my thyroid cartilage, my cricoid cartilage, my epiglottis, the flap-like structure right there. When I pull the epiglottis out of the way, there are my vocal cords right there. Human cat the same, very similar. Sound, vibration, right? Then we see the trachea. There's my trachea. The other thing too, folks, which I have right here, there's my thyroid cartilage, my cricoid cartilage, and just below it, right, there's my thyroid gland. So we saved it on the left-hand side right there, and there on the right-hand side. And right there, that sesame seed structure, that is the parathyroid gland. My metabolic hormones and parathyroid hormone. Right? And on that side, it wasn't present. There's the parathyroid, but the thyroid is gone on that side. There's my esophagus, and hopefully you guys were able to tell the difference between the esophagus and the trachea. Huge difference in terms of sturdiness. Tracheal rings, just smooth muscle. Okay? My trachea runs down. Just turn that off over there. Just hit that. There we go. Yeah. That way we take that peripheral noise out of the way. Right, there's the trachea runs down into the lobes of the lung. And when it branches into the lobes of the lungs, we have a bronchus right there. The branching of the bronchi, the human component, primary branch, secondary branch, tertiary branch, bronchioles, alveoli, human part. So what are we doing really next week, folks? We're doing two tests, a cat test and a human test. That's what I'm saying. All right? And the human test will be the microscopy. Okay? So, bronchus, right? Then here's the diaphragm, which is again the muscle part of the breathing apparatus. And there is the nerve right there that runs down onto the diaphragm right there. There's the phrenic nerve right there onto the diaphragm. And the phrenic nerve is going to again stimulate that diaphragm during contraction, breathing in, active part, active process. Right? So that was the respiratory system. Okay? Marsh, you're looking for trays?
Yes, the big trays.
The drawer in that cabinet over there, there should be more trays in there. The first one,
Ones are there, but I don't know where the
just that first, open up that first one right there. Are there trays there?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, digestive system. There's the tongue. Very, very bristly. The feline group, lots of bristles, which again helps with licking and it pulls a piece of meat off. Right? And then also grooming as a secondary function, like a brush. They are the teeth. Canine teeth, or the cuspids, commonly called the fangs. They are the incisors. And then they are the molars back there, premolars, molars. Right? Two salivary glands. There's my pinna, there's my mandible, so between them, there's the masseter muscle between them, and there's my parotid gland right there. Below the parotid gland is the submandibular gland right there. Right? Those are two salivary glands. Okay? Here is my epiglottis again, the flap that is going to close my trachea so food can pass into my esophagus right there. And the esophagus continues on. There we can see the esophagus running right there. Right? Not to be confused with the aorta. Runs through the diaphragm and into the abdominopelvic cavity. Yes? Now, abdominopelvic cavity. There's my diaphragm, there's my liver, there's my gallbladder. And this membrane right here is the falciform ligament. Misnamed, does not look like a ligament. There's my calcaneal ligament. Big, thick, strong, white in color. There's the falciform ligament, a membrane, right through. Easily broken. Right? Right, we lift up the stomach, at least the liver, and there is the stomach. Right, now we just realign everything back. So there's my stomach right there, and the stomach, there's my esophagus running into the stomach. So that right there is the gastroesophageal opening right there. That first part of the stomach is the cardiac stomach right there. Then this curve right here is the fundic stomach right there. Most of this is the body, and then this little hook down here is the pyloric stomach. Alright? We open up the stomach, and the folds in the stomach are called the gastric rugae. This was a pretty full stomach. So what had happened to those folds? They were stretched out. The emptier that stomach becomes, the more fold of those gastric rugae. The more full the stomach, the distended the stomach, the more those folds are going to stretch out and flatten out. Right? Conceptually, cat, human, the same thing. As I eat and I fill that, it stretches, 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 stretches. Okay? Here's my pyloric stomach. And the pyloric stomach flows into this valve, very, very tight sphincter valve, the pyloric sphincter between the stomach and my duodenum. So here is my first part of my small intestine, the duodenum. So here's my duodenum. It is the small intestine, all of this. The first part right there by the stomach is the duodenum or duodenum. Right? The middle part right there is the jejunum. And then there is my large intestine, also known as the colon. And again, notice not as symmetrical as the human, because we have a real, we actually have a definite shape to it, ascending, transverse, etc. Right? The cat's right there, large intestine or colon. The first part of the colon right there is called the cecum. And remember, in us, we have an appendix that comes off that cecum. And here is the last part of the small intestine. So we've got duodenum, first part, jejunum, second part, cecum, third part, at least ileum. And the ileum flows into the cecum of the large intestine at the ileocecal valve, ileum-cecum valve. Not as strong as the pyloric sphincter. The pyloric sphincter is a strong, strong sphincter muscle. So there's my large intestine right there, right? There's my rectum and my anus right there. All right? Then, the last, in a couple of, yes. All right, let's do this. Here, I'm going to tilt my stomach up. So there's my stomach right there. There's my stomach, my liver. We're going to tilt those two organs up like that. There's my spleen on the left-hand side. Here's my duodenum on the right-hand side. And right here, on the inside of the duodenum, on the inside of the spleen, below the stomach, is my pancreas. So all of this cream gland right here is the pancreas right there. Right? Big, big, very, very big compared to the human. Okay? And then finally, this apron-like structure right here, the omentum, that is going to wrap over, it's going to attach the bottom of the stomach on the inside of the spleen, and it's going to actually hold the small intestines in place. And notice we can also see right there lots and lots of adipose that is stored in it. All right? Like a couple of lymphatic structures. There is the spleen, there is the mesenteric lymph nodes, and remember right here, which I don't have on this cat, is where the thymus would have been. Remember, you had to pull the thymus off in order to see the superior vena cava. Right? So the thymus superiorly to the heart, right there. Okay?